Okay, so I've been going through some things internally, the last I say the last few months, but actually pretty much for most of my life I have experienced bouts of depression, um, mental mental obstacles or mental gymnastics, and I titled the video "Self-Sabotage" because that was the word that like often just kind of came to me. Like why do I withdraw and avoid? And it seems like random. It seems random how these things come on, and like it's weird because a lot of that is what is inspired my journey into personal development and psychology and spirituality and knowing myself more on a deeper level and knowing what I'm a part of. Um, and that heightened awareness and insights has definitely changed my life, like in more ways than I could imagine, and in more ways than I ever realized. But like I still experience those things. And I think one of the cool things that I learned through the understanding, called the three principles, was that it's not about like avoiding pain or difficult times. It's like your ability to be with them, in a different way. But still, I kind of just wanted to, I have most recently experienced it, in a way that I hadn't in a while. I kind of just wanted to make a video about that and about like self-sabotage and like what that means to me, and maybe like a few reasons um which I don't even realize, and this might be useful, do you know what I mean, to anyone out there. Like I'm really getting more into the spirit of, first of all, making things for myself, but also of course coming with a heart of service, you know what I mean? Like, because I really think my ethos and the context that I really want to bring is to bring like more kindness, to oneself. There's a saying like that you wouldn't talk to somebody else like the way you speak to yourself. Like I really like relate to that, do you know what I mean? Like the way I speak to myself, the expectation, the pressure that I put on myself, the shame and the guilt that I put upon myself, is nothing that I would ever do to anybody else, And I think if anything, it's like, what I mean, to share that message, like to share that message to allow one to experience the love that they would give to the others, to give that love to themselves. And I think the weird thing about the type of, I guess, the type of depression, I'll call it, like self-sabotage, I think is a type of depression, or more like the sabotage or the self-sabotage is like maybe an outcome of that type of depression, you could maybe label it, is that it feels like it's like you're doing it to yourself, and it feels very, very like, it feels very, very baffling. Like it's like, why am I doing this? Why is this happening? And I know it can stop. I know it can change because I've seen how it's changed in my life before. But at the same time, it's still going on. Like makes me come to mind. Do you know the DMX song? I'm slipping. Like I slip. Well, the song is called Slipping. But I'm slipping. I'm falling. Like I can't get up. I'm slipping. I'm falling. I got to get up. You know what I mean? It feels like, yo, I'm slipping. Like I'm falling. Like it's like I can't get up. But like but I gotta get up. But it feels like I can't get up. It's it's so like, it's so bizarre, and like just like avoiding situations, avoiding scenarios, avoiding like people, avoiding things that I actually wanted to do. This is why I say, maybe like I'm not trying to distinguish different types of depression and mental health challenges. I'm not trying to create no hierarchies, because I know everyone, it's all experienced as pain and fear, like in some type of way. But I just do want to speak specifically about this. Like, it feels very like bizarre, because I know, like, it's like I know the answer, but it's like I don't want to take the answer, because I feel like then that if I step out of it, if I step through it, if I begin to walk, and resume that path home, then that would basically just invalidate everything that I'd just been through, over the last whatever period of time. It would be like, what was the point of all of that kind of going up and down, and running away and hiding and staying in my room and not going out. Like what was the point of all of that? You know, it would seem like redundant, but it's like that thinking of what was the point is actually the thing that then what's the word, elongates, substantiates, or continues it to move. So that's one of the first things. Like it's very um, it feels very like dazed. You know what I mean? Very baffling. Very baffling. Um, the second thing I think is like kind of the more you know, in some ways, like the worse that it is. Like I'm a bit of a smart ass. I don't know if anyone can relate to that. In the sense that like I like knowledge. Like I like books. I'm interested in reading stuff like that. But I think the more you kind of have a knowing of something, that like the worse that it is, because you think you should know. Like you think you should be doing better. You think you should know. So it's like that kind of actually creates a more level of expectation like on yourself, that kind of creates a level of separation. And it's also I guess one would call it like a type of ego. It's like a like I'm so great, me, the big me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, who am I to fall for this? No, I can't. I'm a coach. I'm a a whatever, a speaker. I'm an intellectual. I can't be getting called to this. And oh my God, what if people knew or found out? Do you know what I mean? Or like, I'm actually giving like real life thoughts. Do you know what I mean? But like, I mean, everyone's gonna have it in their own way. I think there is that there is that like thing about like looking good, or like or look, even just for myself, like I should know better, like that I should know better, like all of that should know better, like it's crazily like not useful, but still it's a hard, it's a challenge to let go of. Like it's very much a challenge to let go of. I mean, all these things are a challenge to let go of. But I think that one for me is very much a challenge to let go of. And I think another thing to let go of is I'm saying I should say speak for myself. It's been about 7 minutes. I've been saying it a lot. I start to get very familiar with the I start to get very familiar with the guilt. Like I start to actually build like a relationship with it, like it starts to become the norm, the norm to feel guilty, the norm to feel bad, like the norm to feel like I'm a disappointment, I've let everyone down, like what's the point, like I've done it again. Do you know what I mean? When it starts to become the norm again, like it starts to feel very, very normal. And with anything, like with familiarity, you know what I mean, it's familiar. Like, and you're just used to it because it's just there. Whereas before it was a distinct, like when I'm in that flow, like it's a distinct thing that I can recognize as very different to the natural flow of me. But when it's not, like when I'm not as familiar with the natural flow, that guilt starts to become very normal and just familiar, and then in a weird way, like kind of hard to let go of, because it's like what I know. I guess it's like and this is no way to equate Stockholm syndrome and like actual kidnapping situations, but I mean, in a mental sense, it's like a mental type of kidnapping in a way, where it feels like it's hard to let go of that. Like it feels like it's very, very hard to let go of that type of thinking, because the alternative is like even worse. you know, the alternative to that is like even worse. The alternative is to face up to the fact that like, hey, that I'm a failure and I'm an idiot and whatever. So these are some of the experiences of psychological, I guess, spider webs, psychological spider webs of depression, of self-sabotage, of thinking, of fear. you know um I kind of wanted to, I guess that's one thing though that has come out of it, that I do trying to hold on to, you know, is like the hope does spring eternal. Like, I think a desire to actually want to live and to want to move, even though day after day, like it feels like things are just building up and up and up, and like feels like it won't change. But the desire for hope, like to want to live, to want to actually move, you know, even if it's not happening, that desire to do it is something to like hold on to, you know, like that the hope like is there. I think the love for oneself, um, yeah, I think the love for oneself is it's another thing as well. It's very very hard, you know. It's very hard. It can be very hard to, I say, to accept, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, you know, it's very hard. I mean, it give me in amongst it as well. I guess another thing is that there is the gift of like empathy. I guess if I suppose this level of the level of, you know, understanding like that I have from things that I've been through, you know, it give me a level of like empathy for others, for myself, you know, like um yeah, and the the psychology, the power of like thinking, it's just like incredible, you know. But at the same time, I guess it's like also, because this is where the hope comes in. Like it can be incredible in the other way. Like it can be incredible when shifted in the other way, or when aligned, or you know, it can be incredible in that sense. Like that, yeah, things can change, things do change, things will change, you know what I mean? Like there's so much more beyond what you kind of even know, but like when that's what you've known and when that's what you're familiar with for the most recent period, you know, it can feel very estranged. But I guess it doesn't even really matter so much. But yeah, if this video, you know what I mean, gives any like hope, you know, and relief, I guess, to anybody going through that or who's recently gone through that experience of yeah, depression, self-sabotage, like fear, like just being like really really in your head about stuff and about life and about everything, and kind of that kind of going on for a prolonged period of time, then like, you know, that's cool, you know, like that's all I kind of want. Is not even to like, even for myself, in a way I say I make it for myself because, you know, I listen to it one day. I think it'd be a cool memento. It's like that I wanted to do more often, was just actually record like, you know, these moments, not just on highs, but just record through the whole spectrum. But the other thing is like, is to kind of not, you know, like not push or not make wrong, you know, just to like be with, you know what I mean, just to like be with it all, to be with it all, like, because it is, you know, it is something like, and it's okay, and yeah, the more I make it into something. Maybe this is another thing I'm kind of just realizing for myself as I'm talking. The more I make it into something, the more like it is something, you know. So if it's just like, that's just the, hey, that's just the way it is, you know. Not the second line though, because well, I guess things will never be the same. Everything's always changing. This is a real, this is a real cold ramble, man. Because that's a cycling, energy. Like it's all been stored up. But yeah, man, I'm gonna leave that there. Thank you if you got to the end of this. You know what I'm saying? Peace, love, wisdom, and all that, and yeah, man, continue to, you know, yeah, I was gonna give a little slogan there, but let's leave that for another day. Thank you.